This is part one of a two-part video on choosing a career, and in this video I'm going to show you how to take a more objective and systematic approach when evaluating your different career options. Hey everyone, this is Michael Tortorich and thanks for tuning in. Just a quick note in the video before we get started. These videos are designed to complement my book, Running the Numbers, a step-by-step guide to life's major financial decisions. Each video corresponds to a chapter or section in the book, and the idea is to review the chapters and use the videos as a platform to add some additional color around the examples where it just wasn't practical to do in the book. So to check out the book or additional videos, please visit my website at michaeltortorichfinance.com, and there's also a link to the website and the book in the description below. So I'm super excited to discuss choosing the right career. I think most people approach this topic from a very emotional perspective. They approach it from the perspective of, what do I like to do? When the questions they really should be asking is, what will give me the highest return on time invested? And what career has the highest estimated lifetime earnings? So in this video, I want to tackle how to look at careers in a more systematic way and show you the process to look at return on time invested. And then in part two of the video, I'll show you how to estimate the lifetime earnings of different careers. So before we start talking about choosing a specific career, it's important to touch on choosing an industry. So regardless of the specific job you choose, you need to assess the trends in different industries. In other words, is the industry growing? Is it fairly steady state, or is it declining? If possible, you want to be in a growing industry. And being in a growing industry should provide you much more opportunities for career growth, and more importantly, salary growth, versus a declining industry where you can be the smartest, hardest working person out there, but you're still likely to struggle to see career opportunities and salary growth. So nothing here to specifically quantify, but just from a broader perspective, it's something that you need to consider. So now let's move on to what you should be thinking about when looking at specific careers. And this is a huge financial decision because it's going to impact how much money you're able to earn over your working life. Now, as I mentioned before, a lot of people, when they start to think about a career, they usually start by asking themselves, what do I like to do? And if you can find something that you like to do and make good money at it, that's great. But the reality is, for most people, that's not the case. So I think it's important to manage expectations up front and take a more systematic approach when evaluating different career choices. So what I've done is I've picked a few sample careers and put them in a table format with additional data points to help compare and contrast in a more systematic way. So let's take a look at the data table, and I'll go through each of the data points, explain what the information is, and also show you where you can get this data from. And this spreadsheet can be found on my website, michaeltortorichfinance.com. So here we're on the Picking a Career tab, and starting in the leftmost column, you can see the sample careers I picked. And I'm going to use the financial analyst as an example to show you how to read this table. So moving to the second column, this shows you how many years of school you'll likely need. And for a financial analyst, it's a range of 4 to 6 years. And most large companies will require a financial analyst to have at least a 4-year undergraduate degree, and requiring a master's degree, usually a master's in accounting or an MBA, is also not uncommon. Now, data for the years of school required, as well as data for most of the other columns in this table, can be found in the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Operational Handbook. So as I go through the table, for each category where applicable, I'm also going to show you where you can find the data on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. So let's jump there and take a look at where you can find the data for the years of school required. So you want to go to bls.gov/OOH, and I also have a link to their website in the description below. And this is going to take you to the Operational Outlook Handbook. And there are two ways to find a specific career. You can use the search bar on the right, or you can use the occupational groups on the left-hand side. So to search for financial analysts, we're going to use the occupational groups, and we'll first narrow this down by looking under business and financial. And the occupations in this category are listed in alphabetical order, so we'll scroll down until we see financial analyst and click there. This will take you to the summary page where you can see the median pay, degree requirements, etc. And you can see the tabs to the right go into much more detail for all aspects of the occupation. So as we're specifically looking for the years of school required, we can click on the How to Become One tab, and that will give us much more information on the degree requirements, typical certifications that people have in that field, etc. So jumping back to the Excel, the next field is tuition and fees of a 4-year degree, and this represents a range of 4 years of university tuition and fees for the 2020 to 2021 academic year and does not include room and board. And this estimate is based on a report from US News, and I also have a link to that article in the description below. And this range is important because in reality there is significant variability in college costs, really depending on what school you go to, if you get scholarships, etc. Also, I want to note that I didn't include graduate school costs as there were just too many variables to come up with an accurate estimate. Next is the hours per week, and this shows the range of hours per week you could potentially work in a specific career. And for the financial analyst, the range is 40 to 60 hours per week. And if we go back to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, that data can be found under the Work Environment tab. And here you'll see some additional detail on work schedules, and as you can see, for a financial analyst, they'll likely work full-time, which is 40 hours per week, and that there's also significant after-office hours work required. Now, this is purely anecdotal, and it's just from my personal experience, but every financial analyst I know works a minimum of 40 hours per week, and there's usually significant overtime required. So next, if we jump back to the Excel, we have the salary range, and this shows what the bottom 10%, median, and top 10% of earners make for each profession. So financial analyst earnings typically range from $47,000 to $156,000 per year. And if we jump back to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website and go to the Pay tab, you can see the bottom and top 10% and the median salary, as well as some additional data on the median salaries for specific industries. So for example, a financial analyst in the securities industry, and think investment banker on Wall Street here, is going to have a median salary of just under $100,000 a year. And an analyst working in corporate finance, so think of working for a big company like Apple Computer or Procter & Gamble, will have an expected median salary of just under $83,000. So jumping back to Excel, the next column in the table shows the estimated dollar per hour range for each profession. And I think looking at a job in this context provides a much clearer comparison than simply looking at the total salary. Now, obviously there's a minimum salary that you have to meet to have a basic standard of living, but this allows you to see the estimated return per unit of time invested. And in my opinion, this is something that you definitely want to consider. And this dollar per hour rate for all of the professions except the teacher assumes 48 weeks of work per year. And this is 52 weeks a year adjusted down to account for vacation, national, and state holidays. And for the teacher, I use 40 weeks a year, which adjusts for summer and winter vacation. The last column is the earnings potential. So for those who work at large corporations, and this is typical for financial analysts, lawyers, computer programmers, there's potential to become executive management. And if you become an executive, your earnings are going to decouple from your specific job and follow the executive track. And this has significant upside potential. But it's also important to note that becoming an executive at any company is not easy, and it's going to require a lot of long days and nights in the office. So in summary, the idea with this table is to help you get perspective on careers in a bit more systematic way, where you're looking at not only the requirements, be it a 4-year degree, graduate, or medical school, but also the overall salary potential, and last but not least, the dollar per hour earnings. And this isn't meant to be an exhaustive list of careers, but really just to show you a framework of how to set up the analysis. Now, I also recommend for any job you're interested in, identify potential employers and take a look at the career portion of their website. This is going to give you a good idea of the universities they recruit from, their degree requirements, etc. There are also websites such as Glassdoor.com, and I'm going to leave a link in the description below, where employees anonymously give salary information, company reviews, etc. And you can use these websites to get a much better idea of the salary by company and job, location, etc. So that takes us to the end of part 1 of choosing a career, and in part 2 I'll review the example of how to calculate estimated lifetime earnings. To check out part 2, you can click on the thumbnail to the left, or for other videos or additional information about myself or the book, see the links in the description below, or check out my website at michaeltodorichfinance.com. Thanks for watching.